Hello, welcome back. This
Hi.
is our second YouTube video of Let's Get Real. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about a huge issue that's happening around the world, mental health.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that really needs to be addressed everywhere.
I'm going to say something. I have anxiety. And
So do I.
I struggle to talk to people. Like, I will have, like, in my mind, I could say this, I could say that. And then when I'm, like, at the academy and people are like, hi, how are you? I just blank. And my inside starts pounding. And I'm just like, obviously I can talk to people, I can talk to people and all that. But it's just like, it's not natural and easy to me. And I'd much rather be in an environment where I don't have to talk to anyone. And also, I'm very shy as well. So, but I'm just gonna let you know that I am getting more confident and I am being able to make better conversations. So instead of saying hi and then that's it, saying hi, how are you, or what did you do on the weekend. So I am getting there.
I think what we need to address is that mental health is in different forms. So it can be panic attacks, it can be anxiety, it can be I'm 100% sure schizophrenia, depression, all these different things linked to mental health.
Yeah.
So it's not just one thing that we need to address. We need to address so many things.
Yeah.
And for example, specifically narrowing to anxiety, there's different forms. Panic attacks, you can feel really nervous, feel sick. There are so many different things within. Even in depression, you might hide yourself from the world, or being depressed might be, having suicidal thoughts. So it's not every individual mental issue is the same.
Yeah. And I think for this topic, I think it's important that for those who experience this thing, it's important to just talk, to tell someone, this is what I have, this is what I'm going through. And sometimes it's like it just relieves, like it takes a weight off your shoulder to tell someone, this is what I have, this is what I'm going through, and I'm okay with it. And there are going to be times where it's tough, but I'll try and get through it.
I think that's a really good point to address. I think people do need to be more open and about it, but I think what we need to do in society is to make it acceptable, because at the moment it's not unacceptable, but it's very hidden. This mental issue, and many people don't come forward because they feel that if they say, oh, I'm depressed, or well, maybe not when you're depressed, because sometimes when you're in that state of mind, you don't tell people, and it's hard to really connect or talk to these people. But if you're in that state of mind where you have a mental health issue and you're not okay with it, and you really want to tell someone, you should. I think what people need to do is say, it's okay to feel this way, it's okay to be weak, it's okay to have a mental issue. It's not going to change my opinion, it's not going to change anyone else's opinion. It's going to help me help you to get better. And the most important thing is to be happy with yourself. And the only way to be happy with yourself is to find things to make you happy, to love yourself, but you also need to let people in and to tell people that I have anxiety, or I'm depressed and I need help. It's that small little saying, I need help, that really changes everything. But the only way for it to happen is if we make it normal. And it's not normal, because many people are in houses and families, look normal, we assume are normal, but are depressed or have anxiety or have certain mental issue that they're not confident enough, or they feel they can't say out loud.
But I think, yes, part of it is the fact that people are seeing mental health as just something not important. But I think it's also the fact that most people...
I don't think so.
But also another thing I think is the reason why a lot of people don't really talk about it, I'm speaking from experience, is the fact that they don't want to admit that they have it. Because I know someone who has depression, and someone who talked to this person and said, you've got depression, you should seek help, and he says no, she says no, because he or she doesn't want to admit that they have depression. And it's one of those things where, like, you have to You have to realize if you've got it, you have to.
I think everyone knows about mental health issues.
Yeah.
I think it is a thing, and people are concerned about it. I just think that there needs to be that little push that allows everyone to understand, okay, we need people to come forward and to say this, because then we can help. I mean, there are so many different issues here, like sexual assaults, that when people do come forward, it's not enough to put these predators, these people, in prison. But there are some things that we can help, and mental issue is one thing we can do. And whether it's because of an incident you've been through, whether it's a car accident, whether it's been, sexual assault or whatever, anything that you've gone through, at least with this mental issue, we can address it. And I think what society needs to do is to take that initiative, take that instinct of theirs and say, okay, I know it's a concern, I do believe we should do something about it. Do something about it.
Well, what society needs to do is to make it seem like as if if you have a mental issue, you can go and seek help.
Yeah, it's normal.
Not saying that they should do something, because who is doing something, like there's different ways in doing something, but they should make it so that if you have anxiety or if you have depression, that you can say, I'm going to go and get treatment. Because the problem we have now, or at least in the UK, we don't have a lot of doctors that specialise in mental health, but we need to get to the point where people could say, I'm going to go and get treatment, because people look at it like as if it's not really important, like that there are other. No, a lot of people think of it as like there are lots of illnesses that are way worse. Yes, there are lots of illnesses that are way worse, but sometimes mental health can lead to something, and it's one of those things where you should make it so that the people who have mental health can say, I'm going to go and get treatment because I can get treatment, because I can see that I can get treatment.
People do know that it's a problem. It's a big issue. It's just they don't really know or have a clear plan of how to address it or how to do something about it, because we have not enough funding for mental health, which is a big problem, because we can't all afford, or we can't pay for doctors to do their job, or to help with these people who are struggling. It all depends on the government. But if the whole society, if everyone around, and I'm saying not just the UK but all around the world, if people actually address it as an issue, but address it that it's normal and that it's okay, and to really get used to it in this sort of lifestyle, I'm sure a lot of people will actually feel comfortable enough to talk about it. Because I think generally people who don't talk about their issues, especially when they're depressed and they don't want to say anything, sometimes it's their mental state that tells them, you shouldn't talk about this, or you shouldn't let anyone know, and you should suffer alone. But the majority of the time is because they don't know whether they can speak up for themselves and say, oh, I'm depressed, because they feel, for example, with my issue, with my anxiety, with the way that the things that I have with my mental state, I sometimes feel ashamed. I feel ashamed of going out and doing things. I feel ashamed to feel sick sometimes and have to talk to people. I feel ashamed having to talk to people and feel nervous. I feel ashamed having to take medication for this, because every time when I see people with medication, usually I think, oh, they're ill, or this and that. And sometimes people think, oh, you're ill, you're contaminated, we shouldn't talk to you, we shouldn't touch. I think this needs to stop. People who have a mental illness, who have this mental issue, shouldn't feel ashamed about taking medication, about having this issue, and it needs to be addressed.
Yeah. I'm also going to say one thing. For those who are struggling, who are experiencing these kind of things, the one thing you should do, I know it's hard. Well, first of all, is admitting that you have it.
Yes, you need to know that you have it.
And then second of all, is to go seek help, whether it's talking to family, whether it's going to therapy sessions. Me and Kat, we've been to therapy sessions, and I remember the first time I went in to do it, like, I ended up talking about things I didn't know I had, so I had like lots of fears and stuff like that, and it was such a relief knowing that I'm not alone, and knowing that there was someone who wasn't criticizing me and saying, oh, why are you feeling that way, there's worse things are happening in the world, but saying, I'm here, tell me. And it was just, and it's also like, it's sometimes like, obviously I can talk to parents and all that, and I do talk to my dad about me being shy, and how, like, I remember one time I came home crying because I hated myself, because I was like, I struggle to talk to people, and I don't like it. I want to be able to make a conversation with someone. I want to seem like I'm a normal person who is able to talk, but I'm not. And he said, you shouldn't feel upset about it, because you're better off being shy than being a cocky, confident person who's just mean and arrogant.
Yeah, you always have to be yourself.
And although I can talk to parents and all that, I think it's also nice to be able to talk to someone who's not related to you, and just be like, this is what I'm feeling.
Because sometimes there are people. I mean, I'm like that. I don't tell my feelings to people, and I try to avoid telling people. I'm in denial, let's say, and I think a lot of people are in denial. But I think sometimes when you're with a complete stranger who is a professional, you're only telling them your secrets, what you're feeling, and things that really upset you. And sometimes it's good because they have that professional. They're in that professional level where they don't have opinions, or they don't pity you in any way. They just address you, right? This is how you feel. This is how you should act upon it.
Yeah.
And I think, do you think a lot of people are in denial?
Yeah, definitely.
I think people try to avoid to say to family, friends, or to generally to people who they know that they are depressed or they are in that situation.
I think also because like a lot of people are just scared that if they admit it, how people are going to react.
Yeah, how differently people are going to react or act upon this. I think also, like, generally my thought is, if I tell, like, I mean, our parents know about our anxiety, but there are so many things I have not told them, and things that I haven't addressed to them, and things that I keep bottled up to myself. And I think the reason why I don't say this is because I don't want them to feel pity for me. I don't want them to be, oh, you feel this way, well, let's help. Because in certain situations, there are times where you can't, where you're so weak, or you can't really help. Like when I'm in that mind where I'm self-conscious about how I look, about my body, you can't help, you can't fix things like that. You have to support these people. But sometimes I'm in that mind where I'm like, I don't want to tell anyone. I want to keep this for myself.
Yeah.
And I think we need to address all these issues, and we need to say that you should tell your parents. And it doesn't matter their reaction or their outcome, and if they act differently, and if they pity you. But you need to address to them that, okay, you might not be able to fix this. You're not a genius. You're not Superman. You're not a superhero. But I want you to support me, and by supporting me, I want you to know that it's an issue, but to make things normal and to help me. And in helping doesn't mean to be like, oh, don't feel bad, or don't be upset because you think you look this way, or because you're really depressed, or this and that. Because sometimes the outcome, the victim themselves, they say, well, you're saying this, but at the end of the day, they're like, well, I'm gonna feel upset about this, and you're not really helping. But to know that there is someone there who you can talk to, and maybe not necessarily able to fix things or help, but someone who you can lean on, just for the parents to say, okay, I know what I might tell you, you might not take it in, you might not address it, you might not do something about it, but to know that I'm here in any situation, and if you need someone to cry on, even if it's whether you self-harm, whether you are depressed, or whether you feel self-conscious about yourself, just let me know how you're feeling, and just I'll be there to wrap my arms around you and to give you that warm hug that you need. I might not be able to help you, I might not be able to be the father or to be the mother that you want me to be, but I'm going to be there to support you. I'm going to be with you in any lows or highs.
Yeah, but for me, when I went to see a psychiatrist about this issue, for me, if if I want to tell someone, I don't want people to feel pity for me or say, "Oh, we can get through this together," or to say, "Oh, I'll help you." All I want is for me to be able to talk and for them to just listen.
Yeah.
To just listen and to hear what I'm going through, and to know that they're not judging me, they're just listening to me. That's all I want. And when I went to the psychiatrist to talk, obviously I ended up talking about other things that I had worried about, and I was crying. But it was just nice knowing that all he was doing was listening to me and understanding how I feel.
And not judging.
And like I know, like also like with mental health, like it's hard because if someone says, "Oh, I'll help you get through it," it's hard because you don't. With me, like I don't know when I'm gonna come to a point where I don't have, and where anxiety isn't that strong, where I am able to talk to people confidently. You know, my parents keep saying, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that," and obviously I am working and trying my hardest to conquer this fear of talking to people and all that. But it's one of those things where it's not they have to do something to help. The only way you can conquer it is with yourself.
Yeah.
And it might take time.
It starts with you.
It might take time. It might take me like what 10 years until I finally come to become confident and to be able to talk to people naturally like most people do. It might take me a year, it might take me 5, it might not even, I might not, might not be able to conquer it, but it's me that has to work with it and to sort it out. And yes, parents can help by buying, helping me find sessions and going to therapy and all that, but I have to be the one to say, okay, today I feel confident and I'm getting better.
It starts with you. It starts with you then.
It's for me. It's gonna take time. I know it's gonna take time because I'm really struggling, but I know I'm gonna get there at some point.
Yeah,
in my life.
And I feel like when you talk to your therapist, they're not judging you because they're not meant to have any opinion. They just give you straightforward what you need to do, how to continue. I think when you tell a parent, when you tell a family friend, it's not like they're not trying to judge you, but in a way you do feel the back of, or I feel sometimes in the back of my mind, if I tell them this, they're gonna start having opinions and start judging me in a more sympathetic way, but it's gonna affect me. So I'd rather much do something or talk to someone where they're not gonna judge me or have opinions. They're just gonna be professional and say, well, this is how you feel, this is what you need to do next.
Yeah, well, I get days where I feel really low and I don't tell my parents because my mind is I shouldn't be laying my problems on them.
Yeah.
Because they have a life.
You should.
Because they have a life and I don't want them to be upset because I'm upset. I don't want them, I just don't want to make them, because my problem is I have this fear that if I tell someone or my family, oh, I feel really down today, I really I hate myself or something, I feel like then I'm just ruining their day because they're having a nice time, whatever.
But here's the issue. This is what we all think, but at the end of the day, the only thing you're doing is ruining. You're not making things any better, because for them they will feel like they're bad parents for not noticing or not knowing that you have this problem and for not being there to help you. So in any situation, if you in that situation where you need to talk to someone and you don't have the courage to talk to your family or your friends because you don't want to burden them with that issue, you're not making it any better. You're just basically hiding away what is really important for them. Because what they are is your parents. They're meant to nurture you, teach you and help you through life. And how can they help you and nurture you and teach you if you're in that state of mind where you're not opening up or confronting your issues with them?
Yeah. Just to remind you that if any of you are facing these problems, it's important to seek help. Go and talk to a psychiatrist, tell your parents and all that. It's a huge issue. I hope people who watch this, I hope that they will see some sort of help within this.
Yeah.
And just know that you are not alone.
But also, another technique or tactic for this is if you're in that state of mind where you're not ready to talk to people, you're not ready to talk to a stranger, even if it's a therapist, about your issue, it's just write down how you're feeling every day in a notebook, in your diary. Just say, today I felt upset because of this and that. Just acknowledging that you had this emotion and acknowledging what made you upset or what made you happy, and letting it out of your mind and into something else, because the book can't judge you. It's a thing, it's an object, it's not a real person. So doing something like that, or just writing in your on your notes in your computer or on your phone, any form of medium where you can write something without having to express it to someone is another good way of doing it. And I do that every time. I bring it with me on holiday, anywhere. Every time I feel upset or I feel irritated or angry about something, I write it down. So I acknowledge how I feel and why I feel that way. And it helps lift the weight off my shoulder.
Okay, well, that was another video. Thank you again
You're welcome.
for being here, and I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a really, really sad topic to talk about.
It is, and it's very important.
And I'm hoping with this, maybe those who are watching who experience the same thing will see some sort of guidance within this and just know you're not alone.
Yeah.